Welcome back to Patrick Christie's Tonight. Now, we've got a GBNews exclusive for you. You, the taxpayer, has paid nearly £56,000 for a vile sexual predator and murderer with a criminal record as long as your arm to get legal aid so that he can reduce his sentence. I'm talking about one of the worst offenders in modern British history. It is depraved Jordan McSweeney, who stalked, sexually assaulted and then battered law graduate Zara Alina to death. He sexually assaulted Zara and left her for dead in an attack that lasted 9 minutes and left her with 46 separate injuries. He was released on licence from prison 9 days before he committed the murder. He was mistakenly not classed as high risk. He then had his licence revoked because he didn't attend the appropriate meetings, but he was still free to kill Zara. Chilling CCTV footage showed McSweeney stalking other women before focusing on Zara. He had 28 previous convictions for 69 separate offences dating back 17 years and had a history of violence towards ex-partners. He even refused to come out of his cell and face real justice at his sentencing. This guy's the worst of the worst, and still you, the taxpayer, have been made to fork out £56,000 so that he could appeal his sentence and get it reduced by 5 years. You have paid for this man to potentially walk free 5 years earlier. Now, it is one thing paying legal aid for someone to face their initial trial. It is another thing entirely for us to pay legal aid for someone who is undeniably guilty to appeal the length of their sentence. Is this something that has to change now in Britain? And it's happening all the time. Thomas Cashman was given a mandatory life sentence after being found guilty of murdering Olivia Pratt-Corbell in her own home last August. He's reportedly received around £250,000 in legal aid after fighting that conviction. Members of the Rochdale grooming gang guilty of the most heinous crimes then used legal aid to appeal their deportation. That bill has come in somewhere in the region of £2 million. Again, it is one thing paying for the initial defence of someone who is not yet proven to be guilty. But once they are, why are we paying for these monsters' subsequent legal challenges? Now, earlier, I caught up with the aunt of Zara Alina, who I'm very grateful agreed to talk to us. She's Farah Naz. Now, Farah and all of Zara's family have behaved with the utmost dignity throughout this absolutely shocking ordeal. Here's what she had to say.
I wasn't formally made aware that he'd continued to use legal aid for the appeal, but I assume that that was the case. I believe that all criminals, even though, obviously I don't want him to have any rights, but I do believe, and my family stance is that all criminals of a certain financial status should have the right, just as any other convicted criminal should have the right for appeal. There's got to be fairness, and even though he deserves nothing, there's got to be fairness.
Farah's problem, she told me, is more with the fact that appeal judges actually gave him a more lenient sentence, and that's obviously her very, very dignified response there. But the fact is that McSweeney would not have got that reduction in all likelihood if we hadn't paid for his appeal.